Super Mario Bros. Movie, is it another mediocre video game adaptation, or is it actually really good? I just got back from seeing it now. I'm going to go over my initial thoughts, my reaction, give a review and that sort of thing, but it's going to be spoiler free in this one. If you want a spoiler, just let me know. It's basically going to be giving you my quick thoughts. I've just got back right now. I'm just going to overload everything to you. If you don't mind hearing me talk about the new Mario film for a little bit, then here you are. If you are new here, don't forget to drop a like, drop a sub, all that good stuff, or at least wait until the end of the video to see if you enjoy it before you do so. Without further ado, let's get into it. Super Mario Bros. I did used to play the games when I was younger. I have played them in the last few years a couple of times, so I am kind of well versed in the universe, I guess. I had a good time with this. I had a good time with this. I'm not going to say it's anything revolutionary, and I'm not going to say it's one of the best films I've seen in this year so far or anything like that. It was a good time. I did have some negatives. I do have some positives as well, but I think we'll probably go into the negatives first. Going into this film, I didn't really have that high expectations to begin with. We've seen a lot of mediocre video game adaptations before, so I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that the cast was really good. I liked the cast. I loved, the choice of Seth Rogen and Taylor-Joy, specifically Jack Black, and also, Chris Pratt as Mario, and Charlie Day as Luigi as well. I will say that well, let's go into a positive first of all. One of the strong points of this is really the voice acting. I'm not going to say much about the character, but Jack Black was born to voice act the character of Bowser. He is incredible. He is great. He put his heart and soul into it, and he was fantastic. I loved it when everything, with the limited at times screen time that Bowser had within the 90 minutes that we had on the film. Donkey Kong was also really, really good. Seth Rogen was great. He did his signature laugh a few times, which was nice to hear. Anya Taylor-Joy's character, I didn't love, but I did think she was sufficient. Chris Pratt's voice, it doesn't really sound like Mario, but in all honesty, that wasn't really a major issue for me, given the fact that if it was a man who sounded exactly like Mario for the 90-minute runtime, I probably would have got a little bit annoyed. And Luigi, you don't really see much of, and it's the same as the other characters anyway. Obviously, I won't go into story details, but that's kind of how it is. Main negatives from this film. It's a film where didn't really know what he wanted to do with the story, so it came out being quite formulaic. It's very erratic in its nature. The pacing is erratic. The narrative is formulaic, and you will find that they seem to settle for adequacy and quite less than adequate story to favor the voice acting, the animation. The animation style is fantastic. It looks like Mario. It has the Mario feel. It has the Mario charm. It provides the nostalgia. We get a lot of references to the games, to Mario Kart, to Super Mario Bros. Tons of references, which are really, really great to see, and a lot of genuinely funny scenes as well. The first 5 minutes of this film, I was a little bit worried because the jokes weren't really landing for me, so I was thinking, is this going to be one of them with maybe a formulaic storyline and needle jokes and not something which I really look for. Maybe Marvel humor, which again I don't want to reference to Marvel again, but kind of my worry at the start. Really starts to pick up. There is some really, really funny scenes. There is some specific scenes featuring Donkey Kong, featuring Bowser that are fantastic, that I really, really liked. But going back to what I was saying, it is a little bit all over the place. The pacing is quite erratic. You do go from A to B quite quickly, and then you end on an ending which the final act wasn't sufficient in my eyes. And in a Mario world, we want to see how these people are bonding, we want to see how they're joining, and we want to see their relationship develop. And in a 90-minute runtime, that's always going to be hard, but if you rush it to the point that they did, it really just didn't work on a character-based level. The characters are enjoyable, there is a lot of fun to be had there, but there just wasn't enough time to sit with things. And again, this is a kids film. I understand that. Its primary audience is kids. Obviously, again, it's not a kids film, but that is going to be the primary audience they're targeting, is younger people. So they're not going to be looking for something which is layered or anything like that. But the story could definitely use work in my eyes. It could use quite a lot of work, especially across that first act. Again, I won't go into spoilers, but you do go from A to B really quickly in this first act, which is a little bit disappointing in all honesty, and it does feel like they're kind of just rummaging through, and kind of the story maybe didn't take that long to come up with, and they kind of put their sole focus onto the animation and capturing the game world of Mario, which they do successfully. It just lacks the emotional punch and also the development of these characters, which we know and love, they could have been utilized better. What I would say is I was impressed with the comedy side of it. Again, it's a film similar to my last full review on here, Dungeons and Dragons, which does rely on you to enjoy the comedy. And I'm not going to say that every joke landed, because it really didn't. There was quite a few jokes that didn't land at all for me, but most of them probably, or at least half of them actually had me laughing. There was a few moments that had me laughing out loud, which is surprising, which has happened 2 films in a row now with Dungeons and Dragons and Super Mario Bros., which again is quite surprising. But my initial thoughts are pretty positive. I gave it a 3 out of 5, a positive score, which was actually about what I expected. I did expect sort of around this going into it. The characters are enjoyable. It has the nostalgia and the charm to make up for the lack of cohesive narrative and erratic structure and pacing at times. But if you're a fan of the Mario games, if you're a fan of the games of when you were a kid, there is a lot of nostalgia to be had here. You're probably going to have a good time, and it certainly wasn't a failure by any means.